Every single day, unmanaged urban waste chokes these natural waterways, creating a severe ecological bottleneck that infrastructure alone cannot fix. Look at Banjarmasin, a densely populated Indonesian city built directly into a complex delta and tidal swamp system. When entire neighborhoods are built directly over the water, the margin for error and public sanitation disappears. This diagram shows the city's daily waste footprint. Banjarmasin generates nearly 500 tons of waste every day, yet only 15% of it is officially managed. The remaining 84% leaks entirely out of the system. In a tidal zone, that uncollected mass quickly clogs drainage networks, exacerbates flooding, and contaminates the river system that sustains the city. The scale of this leakage looks like an engineering problem, but physical waste backing up into the streets is actually the final symptom of a failure much further upstream. On paper, the local government has a clear target: transform into a zero-waste city by the year 2043. Transitioning a metropolitan area of nearly 700,000 people from open dumping to a circular economy requires a massive, sustained expansion of public funding. This chart tracks the city's budget, climbing steadily from 1.9 to 2.6 trillion rupiah. Yet the share dedicated to waste management drops to just 4.75%. The city grows richer, while environmental resources shrink, diverging in opposite directions. When capital dries up, comprehensive plans to reduce waste at the source or build recycling hubs are abandoned. The government is forced to rely on the cheapest, most basic option available: putting trash in a truck and dumping it in a landfill. A shrinking environmental budget during an escalating crisis proves that field data and policy evaluations are failing to penetrate the rooms where financial decisions are made. To understand why those evaluations are ignored, we have to look at the government through David Easton's framework of the political system. A government processes inputs. These are the immediate pressures, like clogged rivers and public demands for basic sanitation. It digests those pressures and creates outputs. These are the official regulations, the trucks purchased, and the facilities built. The system survives by relying on feedback. By evaluating the success or failure of those outputs, the government learns, adapts, and adjusts its budget for the next cycle. In Banjarmasin, this circuit is broken. Technical evaluations are written, but that information is severed from the political conversion process. Without a functional feedback loop to enforce learning, a political system becomes blind. It will continually generate the exact same failing policies and funding cuts, completely unable to correct its own mistakes. We can see the cost of this blindness by examining the work of political scientist Marilee S. Grindle. Her framework highlights a critical division: the formal content written in a policy document versus the actual political context where that policy has to survive. The content of local regulations mandates an advanced circular economy. It requires citizens to sort waste and calls for networks of neighborhood recycling centers. But the political context on the ground is highly fragmented. Authority is split across different agencies, and local administrators lack the budget to maintain operations. Because the policy ignores this reality, the infrastructure collapses. Out of 535 local waste facilities built in the city, 57% are now completely inactive. When complex systems fail due to poor coordination, political actors default to the path of least resistance, loading trash into trucks. This shifts the entire burden onto the Basiri landfill, creating a massive, sprawling site defined by continuous open dumping. An abandoned recycling center is not an engineering error. It is a physical monument to a policy that deployed resources without securing the political coordination necessary to keep them running. To rewire the government's feedback loop, technical evaluations must carry enough political gravity to force a response. This requires 4 specific conditions. First, information quality. Data cannot be vague. The analysis of failures must be rigorous and undeniable. Second, transmission channels. There must be formal pathways that legally obligate environmental agencies to present their findings directly to the legislature. Third, political cost. If lawmakers choose to ignore the data, they must face a penalty, whether through public scrutiny or regulatory sanctions. Fourth, institutional capacity. The bureaucracy must possess the actual administrative skill to draft the necessary corrections. When these four conditions are met, the circuit closes. Evaluation data finally penetrates the budget process, shifting funds away from emergency landfill expansions and toward sustainable, decentralized recycling. A healthy city processes its physical waste effectively, but only when it learns how to process information accurately. Achieving a circular economy is impossible through concrete and trucks alone. A city must wire its political system to fund the lessons of its own failures.